In the middle of the forest, a helpless puppy lay alone, abandoned by the world. But there was someone who was going to change everything. The campsite was eerily quiet. The last campers had left, leaving behind only the cold ashes of their fire and empty wrappers scattered in the wind. Amidst all the debris, a tiny puppy lay motionless, its fur matted with dirt and blood. His eyes were barely open, and his breathing was shallow, almost too weak to be noticed. The dog had been left behind. It was clear that he had been abandoned, his little body abandoned like a piece of garbage. No one had even bothered to check if he was still alive. His little body was trembling, struggling to hold its breath. He had been alone for hours, maybe even days, with no one to care for him. His world had gone dark. But then something stirred. A small, scruffy cat wandered through the camp, having learned to live the harshest life in the jungle. She wasn't expecting to find anything, certainly not a dying puppy. She had been living her life for months, wandering the woods, looking for food. The cat wasn't sure why she stopped, but something about the little dog caught her attention. She slowly approached the puppy, sniffing the air carefully, and then nudged him gently with her nose. The puppy whimpered, his body barely responding. Her heart tightened. He was still alive. The stray cat didn't hesitate. She had seen pain before, but something about this puppy made her feel something different. She had no home, no one to depend on, yet here she was, staring at this tiny creature who needed her. She sniffed the puppy's fur again, trying to understand what to do next. She had no idea how to help him. She had never taken care of anything in her life. But the puppy's soft cries seemed to speak to her in a way no words ever could. With careful movements, she licked his face, hoping the warmth from her tongue would somehow give him strength. The puppy stirred a little more, but his body was limp. He had barely enough strength to move, but the cat wasn't ready to give up. She backed away, looking around the empty campsite for help. There was no one. Only her and the puppy. That's when the decision was made. The cat curled up next to the puppy, wrapping herself around him for warmth. She didn't understand what was happening or why, but something inside her told her not to leave him. She stayed there through the night, guarding him as he slept. The following morning, the puppy's breathing was slightly steadier, though still weak. The cat was exhausted. She hadn't slept, but her concern for the puppy had kept her going. She watched over him, praying for him to survive. As the hours passed, the puppy's condition slowly improved. He began to open his eyes a little more, though they were still cloudy. His tiny legs twitched, but he wasn't strong enough to stand yet. The cat refused to leave his side. She kept licking his face and gently nudging him to try and get him to move. Every time he whimpered, her heart ached. She couldn't imagine what he had been through, and yet she felt an overwhelming need to protect him. By the time the sun began to set again, the puppy had managed to lift his head. He didn't have the strength to walk, but he was no longer completely lifeless. That was enough for the cat. It was a small victory, but it felt like a miracle to her. The cat knew she couldn't do this alone. She needed help. But who could help a stray cat and an abandoned puppy? The idea of reaching out to humans seemed impossible. Still, she refused to give up. She had to try. The days that followed were filled with small victories. The puppy's health improved, slowly but surely. His eyes began to clear up, and he started to move his body more, though he was still weak. The cat stayed by his side, always watching over him, never leaving. One afternoon, a group of hikers passed through the campsite. They had been told by other travelers about a stray cat in the area, but none of them expected to find a scene like this. As they approached the campsite, they saw the cat, sitting by the puppy, cat's eyes filled with determination. The hikers were stunned. They had no idea how the puppy had survived or how the cat had managed to take care of him. But they didn't question it. They could see the bond between them, a bond that was stronger than anything they had ever seen. With the hikers' help, they were able to transport the puppy to a nearby shelter, where he was given the medical attention he desperately needed. The cat, though still a little unsure of these new people, stayed close to her friend. She hadn't given up on him, and neither would they. The puppy's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. In just a few weeks, he went from being a lifeless bundle of fur to a playful, happy little dog. The cat, who had once wandered the forest alone, was now the hero of the story. Together, they had survived against the odds. But their journey wasn't over. The shelter reached out to a local animal rescue group, and soon, a loving family adopted the puppy. They named him Max, and his story touched the hearts of everyone who heard it. He had been abandoned, forgotten, but thanks to the stray cat, Max had been given a second chance at life. As for the cat, she was never alone again. The family decided to adopt her too, and she was given a safe, warm home. She had saved Max, and in return, she had found her own family. The story of the stray cat and the abandoned puppy became a symbol of hope, love, and the incredible power of second chances. Friends, have you ever experienced a moment when an act of kindness from an unexpected source changed everything for you? If this has really happened, I look forward to your story.